A swing and a miss. And we're on the par 3 now. We're 180 yards out. And he goes, and he hits the 3-pointer!
Let's go, Tiger!
Nike, just try harder. All right, today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by All in the Family. So you're moving into a new place? You're going to redecorate? It's that time. Spring cleaning is done or here. Has it come or is it over with? I don't know. It's never too late, folks. It's Texas. The weather's always changing. You never know when it's going to change. You maybe want to get some of that old furniture out of the house. It's maybe a little old, a little outdated, maybe a little smelly even, because you never know. Grandma and Grandpa got a smelly old home. I'm sorry. We love you, grandparents. We love you deep down. Well, then you need to head downtown Ennis and visit All in the Family. Whether you're looking for a custom-built furniture, you got coffee tables, farm tables, sofa tables, vintage furniture, farmhouse, glass, rustic, home decor. The variety is kind of big, and even though the shop may be a little small, you'll be surprised when you walk in there, and there's so many options, there's so many things to choose from. And no, guys, they have stuff for you too. It's not just for the ladies that love decorating. Guys, they have neon signs, beer signs, metal signs, vintage, everything that really define and put a stamp on your man cave and give it that extra boom you've been looking for. That's right, a little boom. Visit 115 West Ennis Avenue here in Ennis, Texas. Or you can call 972-351-0533. You can call them anytime you want them to come down, check out your place, maybe buy something from you. You're moving. You don't want to sell all that stuff in a big garage sale because people these days, who wants to deal with more people? Just deal with one person, one business that is trustworthy, All in the Family. And if you go and visit All in the Family, you mentioned a live part-time. We heard you in a live part-time. Or you can just say APT. Make it a little short and sweet. Ooh, I rhymed again. I'm getting good at repping. You mentioned that, you'll save 10% on all your purchases. 10%. A live part-time. It's not a promo code. It's a saying, baby, and it's a podcast. We're here today with John Marlin, a very good friend of mine who I've had the pleasure of knowing for almost 10 daggum years about now. I'm getting so old. Man. He is a guitarist for now Granger Smith. He was recently a guitarist for Ashley Lee, Bart Crow, and numerous other people. He's a guitarist and a songwriter. We're going to pick his brain a little bit. And for this first time for the podcast, we're actually introducing a video aspect. We're recording, and it'll be on YouTube. And that link for that will be down in the doobly-doo. Without further ado, introducing John Marlin and, I guess, playing with his intro that he wrote for this podcast. John Marlin, here we go. Welcome back again. John Marlin, welcome to the show.
What's up, man?
I'm so finally excited, glad that you're here.
I just can't get enough of you.
You've been, oh, wow. Oh, it's this kind of podcast. Every episode, at least once, he's peeking through the door from the garage and he's making eye contact.
Give us a motivational finger.
Yeah, or give us a stank face, like... anything really. As you can tell, John, this is a high quality production value podcast.
Well, he's always peeking through the door. I can see that he wants to be on this thing. So.
I know, man. It's been a long time.
Clearly, he wants to be on it.
Finally asked me.
And so this is it. This is our show, John. Thanks for coming on. For those that don't know, John is a rock star. That's why we're having him on.
Freaking rock star, man.
Freaking rock star.
Oh, shucks.
All right, so start us out a little bit. Maybe give us a little bit of of background.
First, we have to say that we're putting the face to the intro.
Oh, yes, the face. This is yes, of course. So the intro of the podcast, all that music you hear, that's John. That's whenever I mention episodes back that I wanted somebody to write the episode or
I think it's a little better than that.
It's a little better than So yeah, that was from John to us, from his heart.
Yes, thank you, John.
To our hearts.
Little guitar winking.
Oh, I like that.
And so start us out. Give us a little bit of background. Where you're from? Where'd you grow up? Are you 16, 18? Because you look so young and beautiful.
I'm a 23-year-old dude, male.
Dude, man.
Male.
This.
I like how I just male.
Born in St. Louis, and I've been here in Ennis, Texas since I was about 5. So raised here, probably similar to you guys. I don't know exactly where y'all are from, but
Born and raised here?
yeah. So
Just about.
good old Ennis native.
Good old native, huh?
Yeah.
So, of course, everybody knows you're the guitar guy. Everybody knows you play guitar because he's a rock star, if I haven't made that clear already. So can I go back a little bit and give us a little context? Where did your interest in music begin? Was it Blues Clues? Was it was it the Wiggles? Where, was it a show? Was it just listening? Was it your parents? Where did it start?
I kind of just got exposed to music pretty naturally compared, not any more so than anybody else. Just growing up, my parents played music around the house, but not more than most, I think. Just, I got into music, about intermediate school. I remember everybody in like Green Day or The Killers or whatever was coming out at the time. And I don't know,
Whatever happened to those guys?
they're still rocking.
They're still rocking. They haven't made anything new.
What's his name from Green Day? I saw
Billy
him in
Joel.
an episode of Drunk History.
Billy Joel.
The lead singer?
Yeah. But yeah, it developed pretty naturally. It just was exposed to, whatever. It's just some music from my parents. Yeah, a little bit of like AC/DC or Tom Petty. My mom or dad would play.
So you said they played music like instruments, or
no, just around the house.
Okay.
So
So what got you into the guitar? I mean, was that your first instrument you picked up? Or?
Yeah.
Really?
So guitar happened kind of coincidentally. Just growing up with the buddies that I was hanging out with, everybody, we had phases of like skateboarding or rollerblading or riding bikes or something. And then one quick phase was guitars, and everybody, all my friends, them or their parents had a cheap little guitar and would try and noodle and play some stuff. And then so I just started kind of picking around on a friend's guitar, and then I just got obsessed with it and stuck with it when they moved on to something else. So
I remember this skateboard phase I went through here in town.
Yeah.
There was they had the big skateboard over at Refiner's Fire, and everybody was skating all the way like that big old road that goes past Super One.
Yeah, I had to buy a SpongeBob skateboard at Walmart. I couldn't afford anything else, so I went to Walmart. I was like, I'm going to get a skateboard, and they were all kids, and I was like, well, maybe I'll look cool if I'm the one with the SpongeBob skateboard, but I can only ride my belly on it.
So it was, of course. So it was just the influence of hearing the music that your parents played. Obviously, they clearly had good taste. So kudos to your parents.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
Yeah, my mom, she's not a musician, but she's a big time music lover. So she took me to concerts early on, and we definitely shared a connection and bond through music, which was really cool. So they're definitely a big part of it.
What kind of like concerts did y'all go to? It was like classic rock, or
yeah, mostly classic rock. At first, like my first concert was a band called The Who.
Oh, man, come on!
Yeah, I saw The Who when I was 12. Then we'd since gone to other bands, like we would see AC/DC, Rush, a lot of bands like that. And then once I kind of developed my own music taste, and was becoming a teenager and listening to like hard rock and metal, I would take her to the shows I wanted to go to, and then we'd still go to some of the classic rock stuff, but we definitely shared a bond through music.
Was there like one particular guitarist or band that you go, I want to be like that, or I want to do that?
I remember buying the AC/DC it's called Live at Donington DVD. I don't know where it is, somewhere in Europe. But you guys remember in school whenever you'd get your AR points or whatever and have a Walmart trip at the end of the year?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, I bought the AC/DC Live DVD, and then I remember, I think it was like 4th or 5th grade, and then watching that, I was just like, I want to be that guy with his shirt off, playing to thousands of people.
So you read a bunch of books, you did the homework, and you got a reward for doing homework. So hey, maybe education is worth something.
Yeah, exactly.
So is guitar the only thing that you like regularly play, or can you play other instruments?
It's the only instrument I can play proficiently.
Okay.
Music is music, and if you kind of know the sounds you're trying to make or the notes you're trying to play, you can play anything and figure out anything. But I like dabbling around on piano. I've got a dobro, which is this bluegrassy style slide guitar thing.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I've got a bass, and I mean, I dabble with a little bit of everything, but I'm not proficient by any means.
Yeah. Well, the reason I ask is because I'm musically uninclined,
Uh-huh.
so it really interests me to talk to somebody that can actually play music. It's really cool.
You failed recorder class?
I did.
Intermediate?
Record class.
And the handbells.
Golly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mike is pretty sick on Guitar Hero.
Oh, yeah.
He is.
Hero, yeah.
Was he?
Guitar Hero, I'm good, but once you get me on a real guitar, that's it for me.
Gosh.
Dude, Guitar Hero actually, I'm not kidding, like sparked or helped my love for guitar. Like, I was into guitar for a little while. Me and specifically a buddy of mine named Casey Green, who's another phenomenal
Casey Green.
guitar player. He's really good. So him and I started playing guitar on the same time. Then Guitar Hero came out, and I would spend every day at his house. Like, we would just be playing Guitar Hero and seeing who could beat each other. And then we got, like, I'm not just bragging, but we got really, really good at Guitar Hero to where, like, at expert level and stuff. So then we're like, well, this is boring now. That we should learn these songs on real guitar.
Well, see, that's the thing. I was on expert level on Guitar Hero, but once I picked up a real guitar, I was completely lost.
Yeah. Really?
Because it's only 5 buttons there, and then you got all these frets and strings. And
It's
I'm
the
like, man.
same muscles, I guess, but definitely, yeah.
I remember, yeah, because remember, that's
where
where me and
I got
him,
lost.
that's where me and him kind of became friends because I met him in 2007, 2008. It was 2008 because I was in 8th grade.
Long time
That's
ago.
10 years ago, dude.
Wow.
Dude,
And now we're living together.
I know.
Dude, that's crazy. But so we, in the summertime when we weren't playing tennis, we would go to his house and we would play Guitar Hero or and then we go down to the gas station and get this Mountain Dew Game Fuel, which it was sponsoring Halo 3. It's called Game Fuel, and
It wasn't Los Aztecas, was it?
no. It was
okay.
no, down from a tennis center, that gas station in front of the tennis center.
Yeah.
So you the music from your parents and picking it up, and I guess you say a little bit of Guitar Hero.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not ashamed to say that. Like,
No, dude.
definitely helped out, helped fuel the passion a little bit.
That's. I mean, you hear that all the time. But so what? When did you get your first guitar that you maybe sat down and go, okay, I'm actually gonna learn, and you started maybe taking those lessons?
Yeah, so around that time that my buddies, had guitars and were messing around with them, I just asked my dad that night. I was like, hey, I want my own guitar. And so then I did, chores and stuff for a little while, and then he eventually bought me like a cheap $100 guitar. And I don't know, I just messed with it ever since. Just kind of was that nerdy kid that sat in my bedroom and played guitar.
Who was it that taught you? Was it did you have to take lessons, or did you go to
Self-taught?
YouTube, self-taught?
Mostly self-taught.
Yeah.
I YouTube a little bit, but I would just watch people on YouTube, and then again, like that, my friend Casey Green, him and I would definitely practice together, and kind of always learn songs together and help fuel each other's practice, I guess. I don't know, build off each other.
What was the first song you learned?
Well, everybody's first riff is like "Smoke on the Water."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
And then that transitions to playing Iron Man.
Oh.
And then usually next step is like AC/DC stuff.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Yeah.
I can play like the first 5 seconds of "Wish You Were Here" by Pink Floyd,
There you go.
and I just do it over and over again.
How old were you when you got your first guitar?
I think 12.
12. Okay. So did you ever go to take lessons, or did you just try it out?
Here and there. Once I started getting serious into it, my mom would take me. There's probably a span of like 6 months. She would take me almost weekly, I think bi-weekly, to Irving, to this guitar store, to take lessons with a great teacher there. And he was teaching like theory and like the kind of the fundamentals and like the science behind it. And I was just like a punk kid that just wanted to play metal songs.
Yeah.
So
You just want to know the chords. And,
yeah, exactly. I'm just like,
Yeah.
just teach me how to play this
Yeah.
riff. That's all I want to know. And then, which I really wish I paid attention more, but most of the stuff from lessons, I kind of just went in ear one out the other. So
That was the same way when I took lessons. But so what did you get home from school and get home from tennis and just play all day? Like, what was your schedule like when you were trying to play? Were you playing nonstop, or did you find yourself kind of here and there picking it up?
I'm not so sure. That was a little bit right before I got serious into tennis.
Mm-hmm.
Like once I got into tennis, I kind of shelved it for a little while. But yeah, I would just get home, just sit in my bedroom and learn rock songs. So I don't know. I think a lot of that too. Like I wasn't very like super disciplined, intentionally at least early on. I think just all of us we grew up before social media and the internet really became just a huge thing. So I mean, you didn't have everything else just distracting you.
Right.
So I just had all this time. That's just what I used. I just had all the free time to sit there and play guitar, and it turned out to be productive. But I was literally just doing it for fun to kill time.
So I know you were a really good tennis player. So was it hard to like, kind of like, I don't know how would you explain it? Like, you put a lot of time into tennis, and then you put a lot of time into guitar, or like playing guitar or music. Was it hard to kind of like choose which one you like better, or
Just balancing it, maybe.
yeah, kind of balancing it?
Yeah, I'm the type of person like once I get really into something, that's all I focus on. I kind of hyper focus. So I did shelve the guitar for a little while, and just focused on tennis for a long time. And I still kind of tried to play guitar on the side and have it and start like a band and with some buddies, but it wasn't until like later in high school to where I got like really serious back into it, because at that time I was getting bored with tennis.
Yeah.
I kind of was over that. So transitioning back into
A little bit of burnout.
guitar. Yeah. And then, like through the rest of high school, I did both pretty equally.
How disciplined would you say you were? I mean, did you, or I guess, you said the seriousness of the guitar maybe started back in high school after tennis? Mm-hmm. Where did the discipline come from, and what did that look like?
As far as the discipline goes, I don't really think I had any true or intentional discipline, because I really didn't see a future in it at all. I didn't know that,
It's more like the love of
Yeah,
playing.
it was just a love of it, and it wasn't until later that I kind of discovered why that there's a career path there. I can make money doing it. So I just did it for the love of it, and I just really, really, really loved playing, and I really wanted to start a band. And it wasn't until I guess later on, there's a buddy of mine. His cousin had a recording studio in Dallas or something, and they were like about 10 years older, and they had a serious band that they were playing in, and you're playing gigs all over Texas and making money doing it. It wasn't until I started kind of hanging around them and realizing like, oh, I could go play music and make money.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, and
that's
that's
making a living.
That's the awesome thing about it, is that you played for the love of it, and not just because you thought you had to.
Yeah.
Or like had to practice, and then you actually built a career out of it, and you love doing it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a really cool thing to do.
Yeah, I'm super, super fortunate of it. It's just one of those things like you have no idea where it leads you, but you just kind of follow. Just random opportunities will pop up, and you just take them, and one thing leads to another.
Yeah.
So, none of this was intentional at all, really. So it's weird thinking.
It never is,
thinking,
right?
Yeah, it's weird thinking back about it.
You were I heard someone talking the other day that was a friend of yours in high school. That what was the band you played for in high school, or right after? Did y'all play anything around here? Like, what was your first gig? Was it with them, or?
The first real band that I was in was this country girl named Ashley Lee, and it was some band guys from Ennis. She was from Fort Worth, and some friends of mine that were from Ennis, they were playing, and I joined their band. And but the first like real serious band I was in probably was Bart Crow, if you know him.
Oh, you were with
Yeah.
Bart Crow?
Mm-hmm.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, for like I'm trying to think, 2014 to 20.
So around Wear My Ring? Yeah.
Oh no,
No,
Wear
that
My
That
Ring.
was way before.
Yeah,
Oh, it was? Oh, okay.
yeah, it's still super popular though.
Yeah,
That was like when we were in high
So that
school.
was probably when you played your first, real gigs or anything?
No, I mean I played a lot of gigs leading up to that, but that was the first time to where like I was just doing music at that point and making
okay.
a living off doing it.
That's
So
nice. Did you enjoy playing with them?
yeah, it was great,
Uh-huh.
man. We got to go all over Texas and travel a whole lot. And yeah, that's just the first time I think I really did it professionally, or full time at least.
Yeah, Bart Crow's good. But I do remember, what was his name? Big Joe?
Big Joe Walker.
Yeah, Big Joe Walker. I remember you playing with him, and I enjoyed that too.
Yeah, he's great. You were there at the show, I think, on New Year's.
Yeah.
was it like a year ago, I think?
Guys,
And they were playing at Billy Bob's.
I think that was like 2 years ago already.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they're awesome. I played with Joe for really not that long, probably less than a year, but we've been friends ever since, and we'll still work together here and there, and hang out. Or
I really enjoyed that. That was a good show.
He's great. He's awesome, and some friends still play with him, and they're all good buddies.
Is it Casey Green still plays with them, right?
Yeah, Casey's playing with him.
That's nice.
So going back, just backtrack a little bit. I want to talk about, well, you haven't mentioned it, but when you were, I don't know, when did you start putting videos on YouTube? Is I guess the question we'll start with, because I know.
Oh, he's got videos on YouTube.
No. Let him explain this because it's interesting.
Okay. All right.
So, at the time I was getting serious about guitar, YouTube was just blowing up too. And in the way that people were learning songs on guitar, and how I would always learn guitar, is people would put up cover videos of playing guitar to a song, and just with the song in the background, they're playing through it. And that's how I would just kind of watch them and figure out what they're doing. And then it just became a popular thing, and a lot of people were just covering songs on YouTube and getting a big following doing it. So I just started putting out covers of just sitting in my bedroom playing hard rock songs.
You did a lot of Avenged Sevenfold.
A lot of Avenged Sevenfold.
Oh man,
That's
I gotta go watch those.
Well,
oh no, they're taken down.
No, because I remembered him doing them, and he get a lot of views, and I was like, dude, are they still up? He's like, dude, I took those down.
You took those down?
Yeah, dude. I mean, like then once I started getting into the professional side of things, if they go like, oh, what's that John Marlin guy look like that we heard about? And they Google him and they see like 13-year-old me with like Justin Bieber hair.
It's funny. I can picture it in my head. It's really funny. If anybody who watched those know exactly what I'm talking about. But,
oh man.
So did that pick up any momentum? I mean, did you get a lot of views? A lot of people contact you about anything?
No, not really. I mean, I think the most views on something I got was like 70 or 80,000. But and it's mostly just guitar player kids that watch that stuff.
Yeah.
But
that's still a lot. That's a pretty good following, right?
I mean, back then when I saw the numbers, I was like, "Whoa, you got 80,000 views on your video, John?"
Yeah, now people have billions of views.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
no, it's crazy.
But no, I mean, I didn't get really any opportunities from it. If anything, it just kind of reaffirmed that, or affirmed that I was decent and I wasn't that bad.
Right.
So
yeah.
What did your parents think? I mean, did they know you're becoming a good? I mean, did they notice your talent building and your skills building? Were they like, "Hey, my son's pretty damn good at guitar. I should buy him a better guitar"?
Yeah, well, I mean, once I started getting better, I definitely would beg my parents to take me to Guitar Center every chance I could.
Yeah.
So they were definitely proud. Like, I remember my mom, later on showing people like, "Oh, show them that video, John. Show them this," and then and whenever I was kind of a little bit older, I'm like, "That's so embarrassing. I got to take it down." So that's around the point that I took them down. But
your parents were, for the most part, they were pretty supportive of you, choosing this to do.
Yeah, very much so.
That's good.
Like I said, my mom, super creative person and music lover. She's a painter and a dancer, and just an all around creative. So she was 100% supportive. And my dad worked in the music industry for a long time, so he naturally was pretty supportive as well.
I want to talk to Justin Bieber's agent. Said I found him on YouTube. How'd he pass up John?
How'd you pass up? What the hell's your problem?
John could have got that haircut and sang with Nicki Minaj. Couldn't you, John?
That would be awesome. I wish I had that voice. I'm not kidding.
Right.
So who all have you played with? Ashley Lee, Bart Crow.
Ashley Lee was probably my first full-time gig.
And when did that start? What year was that?
Oh man,
Was that after high school?
that was during high school.
Oh, okay.
That was my senior year. Then I played for an artist named Mark McKinney for a little bit. Then a guy named Brian Keene, who's a big songwriter in Texas. And this is all like the Texas country circuit. So we would play with bands like, Josh Abbott or Casey Donahue and those guys.
Good man.
Yeah, so then I filled in with a lot of people, but then Bart Crow was the next full-time gig, and I played with him for a couple years. And then from then on, went to Granger, and I've been with Granger Smith for just over 2 years now.
What's some of the backstory of changing? Like, how do you go from, Ashley Lee to it was
Bart Crow.
Bart Crow to now Granger Smith? Like, do they come approach you, or do you?
No, they go, man, we went on YouTube and found you, and
your hair was
this is bad PR. We gotta let you.
Like, what leads to changing of bands? Like, I've always wondered that.
So the music industry is big time just a word of mouth industry. So it's all built on relationships. So every gig that I've gotten has been through playing with the band, then playing shows with other bands, and then just meeting other musicians and other people, keeping in touch, and just becoming friends. And then, once another opportunity, like a gig opens up, like Bart Crow, for instance, he's looking for a guitar player. So then a buddy of mine that was working for him, referred me and put my name in, like, hey, here's John Marlin. He can go play. And, then I'd go audition, blah, blah, blah. And same with every gig's been that way. It's just all relationships. So then with Granger, it was the same thing. A guy in another band referred me to him whenever he was looking for another guitar player. So
What's that audition process like?
Read
a line.
It's it's different with every band. Just because for some bands, like some people are already like really known in the industry and are known as being a badass player, so it's like it's a no-brainer sometimes. Right. But then if you're taking a chance on people and you don't really know their abilities or know them very well, then you can have an actual audition process. Like with Bart, I went and auditioned. I don't know how many other players they had, but they had a rehearsal studio set up, and I just learned 5 of their songs. Drove down to Austin and just jammed with them for an hour or so, and then. I don't know how many other guys they auditioned, but I got the gig. And then with Granger, it was different because I was playing with Bart, who's notable, so they knew I was a good enough player. So with Granger, actually, it's funny. He just called me up and was like, "You want to come on the road? We're looking for a guitar player, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to," but they weren't gonna have auditions because they're already on the road. Plenty, they just didn't have the time. So Granger's like, just come out on the road with us for a month, and we'll see how it goes, and then we'll just revisit in a month. So that's like an audition on the job, if you will.
Yeah,
we called it a trial run.
Okay. That's a pretty cool audition. Hey, just come play. We're just gonna go rock out for a month.
Yeah.
Well, with Granger, what's really crazy about that is that. One of my very first gigs was the Today Show.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was a Today Show, and then we did Fox and Friends my first week, and I had never met Granger until like we were on our way to a show in Florida or something, and then got off the plane and there he was. But we chatted for a while.
What was that like? Was he? He looks tall. Is he tall?
He's pretty tall. He's average size, I guess.
Okay. What was it like meeting him? Did you know who he was at the time, or
not? Yeah, but
he wasn't as big as he is now.
No, I didn't know his status at the time really, because I was really only involved in Texas country, and he's a little bit more
Nashville. Not Nashville,
bro.
but
I think what you call it, bro country.
No, more on the national circuit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just kind of a different circuit, I guess. So I wasn't super familiar.
So who's cooler, Granger Smith or Earl Dibbles Jr.?
They both have.
What if he
moments.
just goes in and out while he's talking to John?
That'd be crazy.
They have their moments for sure. Each of them.
Well, I was going to go back
pretty
to
cool.
I was going to kind of go back to like what Dylan said about how you got to where you're at. Did you ever think? I know you said that you didn't ever expect to have a career with music, but did you ever expect to play like country music? Like, did you ever think, listening to like classic rock and like rock growing up, that you would be maybe like in a rock band? Or
Yeah, I tried to be in a rock band for a long time. I tried to start my own, and there's just not. I could never find enough musicians like locally around here.
Okay.
Specifically, could never find a singer. Like,
Yeah.
that's a cliche. Like, you can never find a singer.
Right.
So did you join any bands in high school, or were you just trying to, like you said, trying to form one?
No, so where that leads is that I was just trying to play rock music, and then my friends, the drummer I was playing with, his cousin that had a recording studio up in Dallas and stuff. I knew of some of these older musicians from town. They had a really badass rock band that I was a fan of, And so I would always bug. It was Ryan Urlis. I would always bug him, like, dude, let's go hang out with your cousin, man. He's a badass drummer, and I want to go hang out with them because I knew him as like badass rockers. And once I started hanging around them, they were playing country because they were just over rock. They'd done the rock thing for a long time. And then with rock, it's just kind of hard to get off your feet and make money doing it. In country, you can make money a lot easier playing country music. So they were doing that country band, Ashley Lee. That's the band that they were in. And so at that point, I was like, well, if these rock dudes, if these guys are playing country, I want to play country. So I just started playing with them, and it opened my eyes, or my ears, if you will, at that point, to where that's where I really became a lot more open-minded musically, and I fell in love with country music and just all sorts of music. At that point I was like 16 or 17, and you kind of mature at that time anyway, and you're not just liking the same old rock bands. You start appreciating, more mature music, if you will. Although I still love rock just the same.
Yeah.
That's when he wiped off the mascara, pulled down the spiked hair, took off the Converse.
I'm no longer a twisted
pulled on
sister.
some boots and said, let's go.
I'm still a rocker compared to most.
So you got to high school, didn't make any bands with your friends or anything? Is that right? You said?
Yeah, I tried, but nothing
didn't
really
work out.
worked out.
So you got the gig with Ashley Lee. And then you graduated. So where was it after high school that you got to Granger, I guess? Or I guess saying, how did you get to playing with Granger versus Ashley? Was it, you said it was word of mouth primarily?
Yeah, I was just playing gigs and establishing relationships in the music scene. And the music scene in the industry is very, it's a pretty tight-knit circle. Everybody knows everybody. So once you start kind of just making relationships, you just get to know everybody. And if you're good and a reliable person, usually doors will open up.
Yeah. What's your favorite aspect of playing with Granger?
I love traveling, and I love getting to do nothing but music, which is really badass. Like other than I played full time with Bart, and that's all I did was music. But every band before that, I was working side jobs and all that. Like waiting tables and unloading trucks at a Kohl's distribution center stuff, which that was intense. But
yeah, and you finally found something you'd like to do every day.
Yeah, I was just like just grinding it out, doing whatever I could.
Yeah.
So, but I just love being able to play music full time, and that's really it. So that's cool.
And do you have a favorite part of it? Is it just traveling that's your favorite part of touring, or?
Traveling, yeah, it's awesome. It's great, but you kind of get a little desensitized to it. Like I really enjoy going to the cool places, but then there's a lot of places that you're just like, oh, I'm going to, I don't know, Nebraska again. Not to throw Nebraska under the bus.
So what would you say was so far has been your favorite place to go to?
Australia.
Australia? So where'd you play in Australia?
We played in Brisbane, which is in Queensland. I guess that's a country in Australia. But yeah, we played a festival there in Brisbane and spent 5 days there.
Oh, wow.
Last summer. It was really awesome.
So, like, when you get to travel, do you get, like, so is there, like, time that you're on the clock and then, like, time that you have to yourself to where you could do whatever you want? Like,
yeah, so my average day, it's always up in the air. There's variables. But a typical show is my two main things that I have to worry about and do is sound check and the show. So that's my job technically. So sound check takes place around 2 or 3 p.m. It takes an hour. We just set all our stuff up, make sure it works.
On the same day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sound check and then show time around 9 p.m., 10 p.m. So I've got a lot of free time on the road. So
that's one night, and then you got like 5 or 4 other days. Like
yeah.
Okay.
And that's a typical show day. There's always variables because we'll fly a lot of places, and then you might be driving during the day, or it's always kind of up in the air. But a typical show day when we have like our buses and all our stuff, that's usually just sound check and showtime that I have to worry about. So I got plenty of time to work on other stuff. So I'm always working on music or I don't know, go to the gym or something.
Yeah. So I asked you what your favorite place was. What's your least favorite place you've been to? If you don't mind me asking. I don't want to put them out there.
Oklahoma.
Man, there's not really a bad place. I mean, there's some places that you might just have a bad show, or it might be a cool city, but the venue isn't very good or not that cool. And vice versa. There's some really cool concert venues in the middle of nowhere that you're like, who comes out here?
Yeah.
So there's not really a place that I dislike going. At least none that I can think of specifically.
Right.
What's a bad show? Like, what's a bad show you've had, and what causes a bad show?
A bad show. Sometimes you're just not feeling it. Your gear might mess up, or just things go wrong, or you're just not flowing well. Everybody, and usually it's like sometimes the crowd is weird and not into it. Which, I mean, that's a rare case, but we don't have any really bad shows. I would say it's just shows that aren't as fun as others.
Yeah.
So
how do you accommodate for like when your gear messes up? Like how do you fix that while you're up there and you're in front of all these people? Like how does that work? Because
that's the golden question.
Kick it till it's
Are there like people behind the stage that help with that, or?
Yeah, well, we have a crew of people. So we've got like a sound guy, a monitor guy that runs, like the stage noise, and we've got people, the crew that are there to help for that kind of stuff, and they'll help out. But as far as like my gear goes, you just kind of have to, just like anything, if an issue starts happening, you have a gut feeling of like what it is, and you can usually fix it real quick. But there's always exceptions. Like I've had my number one worst experience on stage was we did a tour with Florida Georgia Line last year or it wasn't last year, it was 2016 in Canada, and in front of 20,000 people, my amp went out like halfway through the show.
Oh, no.
So then my amp just quit working, so nothing's making noise at all, and I'm like, shit, I don't know what to do. So then I'm trying to fix it, and it's not working. And then I ended up missing like 3 or 4 songs, which we were only playing like 8 songs on that tour, maybe 9 or 10, I don't know. But it was just a very embarrassing thing for me, or it hurt my gut.
Yeah. So, but that was early on, like in the career, like where you just started with Granger Smith, or
that was the year I started with him, but I'd been with him about 7 or 8 months.
Okay.
But yeah, in that situation, one of our crew guys, he came out and helped me figure out what the problem was, and just got me a different amp actually.
Okay. But, so yeah, I guess that would help a lot to have people.
Yeah, it helps out, but it's still that's what you do sound checks for, to make sure everything works. But when something goes wrong in between sound check and the show, that's when you're kind of just like, well, here we go.
Can't predict it all.
Be a long night.
I have to ask. We were talking earlier. Okay, Granger Smith says, you know what? We're just going to go tour. And that's going to be your tryout.
Uh-huh.
How nervous were you that first show? Was it the most nervous of your professional career of, okay, I am live now, and I have to prove to this man I'm a good guitarist. But
the very first show, I wasn't very nervous. I was nervous, but that it's pretty structured to where I knew what songs were playing. It's not like he's just throwing me off in the deep end. Plenty before I went out with those guys. He's like, all right, well, here's the songs we're playing. Here's like our common set list. Learn all these songs in and out. So that's what I did, and so it's not too bad. I was very well prepared. But like the second show we did was, like I said, on national television, so that was super nerve-wracking.
Well, how long did you have to learn all those songs that you would have on a set?
That one was, I think, like 10 days or so.
Really?
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Wow, that's amazing to me, because I couldn't imagine that.
That's plenty more time than usual.
Imagine that.
Yeah. Well, all music, it's like anything. It's all like similar. They use the same type chords, similar things. So, once you just have a lot of experience, it's all, it's not too hard to learn.
Yeah.
So,
well, coming from somebody that plays all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, like anything non-music related, I wouldn't know what to do with. But then it's just like anything. You get more experience, you kind of have it figured out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you like having? I mean, to me, having how many people come to y'all shows on average? A couple thousand, I imagine.
It's always different. For our own like club shows, probably 1,000 people.
Yeah.
For like a festival, we'll play with other bands,
Mhm.
and there's 10,000 or 20,000 people there. It definitely varies.
Yep.
Or there's times we'll play like a big county fair or something, and there's a built-in audience.
Yeah.
Well, did you ever have like I guess like stage fright or anything? Because that's a lot of people to play in front of. So I couldn't.
All those eyeballs.
I'm
just-
very stage fright. Like I can't even say a speech in class. So
I can't do that either.
like me imagining like sitting up there. And
But if you give me
playing
a
in front
guitar,
of
you can
people.
play in front of people.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, like public speaking is, I think it's a lot of people's biggest fear. Not biggest fear, but it's a big fear for a lot of people, including myself. And so I would get nervous just going and talking to a class of people. But yeah, like just because I've played guitar for a long time and I've done it enough, like I'm not nervous to play into a lot of people at all. If I wasn't prepared, I would be nervous. But yeah, it's just like anything. You just kind of desensitize isn't the word, but just with experience, you just get used to it. But yeah, I mean, I'll play guitar in front of 20,000 people, no problem. But then I will be nervous to go talk to 15 people.
So you got used to all like. I mean, I just can't imagine all those people staring at me.
Yeah,
I mean,
can't either.
if I gotta pick my nose or I gotta do something.
I had a girl at the front row one time hold out her phone. She just wrote, "Your fly's open," and she held it up to me right there.
Wow.
And I was
And
just
it
like,
was-
well,
And it was your fly was open. Really was.
yeah, it was.
So was it joking? Wow.
So I just turned around, fixed it real fast.
She's just looking out for you, man.
Yeah,
Thanks.
exactly.
And then you throw her your number. You're like, hey, yo, thanks.
Did you give her at least an autograph or
I
something?
threw a guitar pick probably.
There we go.
Wow, that's funny. So you play with Granger, and most everybody that knows you knows that you have an adorable little boy named Zane, who's my other roommate, and it's an interesting atmosphere around here. A lot of chocolate milk being drunk, and it's an endless amount of chocolate milk. Seriously.
No kidding.
So you get the cool gig with Granger. You get this cool job, and sounds really fulfilling. Honestly, it sounds really cool. And then you have a son. So what challenges and adjustments does that bring as being a touring musician and then also being a dad full time?
I've always had a hectic schedule, so I've always kind of been used to that aspect of things. But I think challenge wise, kind of like anything, it's hard to balance sometimes, and you just got to know. I mean, I've gotten used to it to where with Zane, I have as soon as I get home, I go pick him up, and it's just me and him for however long I'm home, and it evens out about half and half. So it's just balance, but it is tough. It sucks being on the road sometimes. Whenever you have family and you want to be back home, and you get homesick. So yeah, being gone for an extended period of time, weeks at a time, that gets tough. But it's just like anything. Everybody sacrifices one way or another.
Yeah, what's like the average time you're gone, or the longest period of time you've been gone?
The longest period of time I've been gone. Summer is always the busiest season for music. So last summer I was gone. I think the whole summer, like almost 90 days, with like a week in between that I was home. It was like a couple days here and there. But then it evens out to where, come November, December, and January,
You're mostly home.
yeah, I'll be gone like 8 days that month, so then
nice.
I'm home the whole time. So it all evens
Especially
out.
during the holidays.
Yeah, exactly. So it evens out. But typically, like other than summer's our busiest time for sure. But average, I'm gone like 4 or 5 days, 3 days sometimes just a weekend.
Do you ever I'm sure you just phone call or FaceTime. Do you
Yeah.
have those moments where, okay, I gotta
Absolutely.
talk to my son.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all do.
That's tough.
Yeah, everybody in our band has little ones. And
Oh, that's nice.
family. Yeah,
That helps to have other people that, understand it.
yeah, absolutely. So
There are 4 other drunk guys going.
Yeah, exactly. No, we're all good family dudes.
Does Zane understand what you do?
Not really.
Not
I
really.
mean, he comes to sound checks and he's been to a few shows, and he definitely thinks it's cool and enjoys music, and he'll run around on stage with us for a little while during sound check. But I don't know. He thinks music's cool and he's really into it.
Yeah,
but
he is.
I don't know if he like completely understands it yet. Hopefully, I'm still doing this in a few years, and I can take him out on the road with me here and there.
So all he knows is that his dad's a rock star.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
He's just like, Dad, stop playing your guitar.
Well, I saw him playing the drums the other day.
Yeah, I think I jumped the gun and got him a drum set too early.
Dude, those things are loud. Bang, 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 bang.
He's pretty good at it though.
Oh, dude, he'll. The other day he's got a ukulele, just so he calls it just his baby guitar, and he took his ukulele and he puts it in his lap and he goes and sits on the drums, and with one hand he's got the drumstick and he's hitting on the drums, and the other hand he's like banging on the guitar, and then he's yelling and singing. So I was like, dang, look, it's a one-man band. He
likes
can do
singing.
it all.
He likes
He's a
singing.
prodigy.
He likes singing TNT a lot.
Oh, really?
He goes TNT.
Yeah.
Dynamite.
That's awesome.
Yeah, his two favorites are AC/DC and Tom Petty for sure.
Yeah,
So he's taking after dad for sure.
yeah, and he's teaching him piano too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, I think it's important and good, because if you can get kids touching and engaging that creative side of their brain at a young age, like with music and with instruments, I think it'd benefit in the long run for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, and even if they don't pursue music, whatever, it's a more productive use of time than, I don't know, just putting them on the TV. Which
Oh,
I mean,
dude,
I have to do that,
Or
to get
just
my time
letting them
as well.
sitting
But
on an iPad all day.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But if he does decide to do music, even if it's just a hobby, like, man, if I'm gonna get him piano lessons soon, because that's one of those instruments. Like, if you learn early on, it's so helpful. Like, it's a language, so just like anything, it's or any language, it's easier to learn when you're young and just kind of grow up with it. So
Yeah.
Well, I heard that if you play the piano first, you could play like pretty much anything. Is
Yeah.
that true?
it's easier to understand music.
When you play the piano first?
Yeah,
It's kind of like a reference point.
Okay.
yeah, but you definitely have like a great foundation
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just understanding of how music works.
Right.
Yeah, I really wish I learned to play piano early on.
So did I. I used to watch Miss Powell play in school, and she's really good.
She's jamming over there. What's like an age you would recommend? Okay, I'm gonna start start Zane out on the piano and lessons. Not with the. If I'm gonna sign him up for lessons and piano, what age would you recommend?
Oh man, I don't know. Some people say 4, which he's 4 right now, and some people say to wait. Obviously, for a 4-year-old, you can't be too serious with them
Yeah.
at first. You just got to make it like a fun thing, an engaging thing. So
Yeah.
I'll probably get him lessons. Probably within a year, just very lightly. But if anything, for me to kind of help,
See if he has that passion for it.
yeah. If anything, just for me to learn what I should be teaching him, or what I should, how I should get him to play.
Well, you've
I
been
want to.
teaching him though. I mean, he's been sitting down and like marking the keys and teaching him little songs. Here.
Trying.
to.
Well, I
yeah.
don't think an age like an early enough age is too young to teach anything.
Yeah,
honestly,
Yeah, it's not.
because
So-
you get them exposed to it, and I mean, even if they don't pursue it later on, they still have that talent.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, just however you can get them engaged.
Right.
That's my biggest trick. That's the hardest thing right now, is just getting him to sit there and get some fun out of it. So I'll try and make like a little, not a competition, but if he can sit there and practice with me for a few minutes, he'll get a piece of candy.
Or chocolate
Yeah,
milk.
well, and that's
Reward
also,
him for it.
That's also like a lot of brain development too.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
Yeah,
Playing,
for sure.
Playing music and stuff. That's really a lot. Of brain development, even if you don't think about it, like while you're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just connecting dots.
What's up with this chocolate milk?
Oh, dude.
I mean,
it's like, most kids like candy or Coke. This
Yeah.
kid just loves chocolate milk. John
I guess
can
it could
tell
be
you.
worse. That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean,
Like I've seen kids that they gotta have soda all day, so I guess
yeah.
chocolate milk is.
Oh, it's not terrible.
He doesn't
but-
drink it all the time. It's just
But he definitely gets into some crying fits over me not letting him have
Well,
chocolate.
that's why I went to the store today and I got chocolate milk and I said, "Hey man, I'm gonna borrow your dad for like an hour. Here you go, chill out with Vanessa." And he said, "Chocolate milk."
Chugged this whole gallon of chocolate milk.
Dude, he gets so pumped. So when you're at home and you have Zane with you, you're also writing music. Mm-hmm. So what exactly are you? What is that like, the songwriting process? I know because I know you're trying to get into that a little bit more and more now and then.
So the songwriting industry is something I kind of was exposed to with Granger. Early on, whenever he started working on his next record that just came his next record that came out last October, he started bringing out some songwriters. And I didn't really know the process of writing songs, but he would bring out some songwriters and he would tell me like, "Oh, so-and-so that's coming out wrote this song, this big hit song that everybody knows, or they wrote this song." And then, so I would just have this image of them, preconceived image of them like that being like super badass or something. And then they would come out and they'd just be the regular old bro, just doing it. And then, so I was like, man, if that dude's writing those songs, I can do that.
Yeah.
So, I just got really exposed. And there's a big Nashville community that, this group of songwriters, it's a small circle of songwriters that they're writing like everything you hear on the radio. I've just been pursuing that a whole lot lately. But whenever I'm home, I'll just I do it on the road all the time too. I'll just sit there and work up musical ideas and record and all this stuff. And now I've gotten to the point I take a trip to Nashville probably every month and a half for about a week and go get with some of those songwriters and pursue that.
So you're in the pursuit of writing your own music. Would you ever consider one day writing and songwriting and singing as well?
Maybe. Yeah, I would love to get to that level that I'm comfortable doing that. But
That's like public singing. That's a little.
yeah, exactly. That's
a whole
something.
nother level.
I can sing harmonies, and I sing harmonies. Sing backups.
Right.
I've sang backups in most of my bands, which that's fine. But then, like singing in front of people when you're not a singer or don't consider yourself one, that's really tough. But I would love to get to that point, and just for fun, and just literally just for self-fulfillment, like make my own record. Even if nobody buys it, I don't care.
I mean, you might as well try it.
Yeah, absolutely.
While you're at that point.
But in the meantime, hopefully I get to that point. I would love to do that someday. But right now, with the whole Nashville thing, like I didn't know that other people wrote a lot of the songs you hear on the radio. You didn't have to be the singer to write the songs,
right? If
that makes sense. So, because I've always been felt kind of screwed because I'm like, man, I'm not a singer. I can't write songs or do anything, blah, blah, whatever. And then sure enough, there's a whole community of people that are just like me. So that's why I've been doing that. So,
and they make a lot of the money.
Yeah. Well, it's a hard industry to break into, but definitely money to be made.
Well, I think two that I know for sure that I've heard about like that is Zane Williams and even Chris Stapleton. Mm-hmm. Like he was a songwriter in his early 20s.
Yeah, Chris Stapleton, he's been a Nashville songwriter for a long time, and I can't name a lot of
his
songs.
Of his first album was written like 12 years ago.
Yeah, well,
and that's crazy to me.
He's got thousands of songs piled up, but he's written plenty big songs you've heard of. Again, I can't really think of any recent ones. He's like written some Thomas Rhett stuff, some Luke Bryan songs that you've heard. But he did it's a very common thing for songwriters. They'll sit there and write for a lot of people for years, and then like, well, I want to make my own music, and they do that, and he blows up. So.
Yeah.
And Zane Williams, he's an incredible songwriter.
Yes, he is.
And he's I'm kind of friends with him, I guess. A few of my best friends, musical friends, play in his band or have played. So I've been around them quite a bit. But,
so you've met Zane Williams?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, he's great. But he's an incredible songwriter. And he did the Nashville songwriting for a little while too, but now he mostly just writes for himself.
Well, I just don't see why, if you could do it, why not give it a shot,
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
Oh, there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
And he's definitely made some money writing songs for other people. You know, he's written some some Cody Johnson hits.
Yeah.
Pat Green recently. I don't know what cuts he got in Nashville, but yeah, he's just a phenomenal songwriter.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
I noticed that a few years back, our friend Henley,
Yeah.
just rock and roll all the way. I'm a
Yep.
big country music fan. Years ago, I set him down. I was like, watch this song by, I think it was Clay Walker.
Yeah.
And I was like, watch this Clay Walker song. And at the end, it goes written by. And it's all, he's like, he don't even write his own music, man. I'm not listening to country. They don't write their own music.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, he didn't write that song. How do you sing it? And I was in maybe junior high, and I was like, oh, they don't write their own songs.
Well, I guarantee a lot of rock people don't write their own
Well,
songs.
yeah,
either.
I think more of, I've always thought more like mainstream country. When you turn on
Well,
that,
even George
you know.
Strait didn't write a lot of his songs.
George Strait didn't write any of his
No,
hits.
Really?
no.
See, that's crazy. That's what I've always thought. Like, more popular, like Luke Bryan and bands like that. I'm like, they probably didn't write
He's
this
just
stuff.
he's just the voice and the face
Yeah.
of it. You know.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like most artists in Nashville, most of the big artists, they will write their songs as well, but sometimes it's an ego thing, you know, like if you're like, oh, I'm only gonna write songs, I'm only gonna write my own songs, that's cool, that's fine, but then you kind of limit yourself. Because like a really phenomenal song will come around, and you're just like, man, that's such a good song. And if you don't let yourself like record stuff like that, then you know it's freaking hard to write a bunch of really great songs. So it's a very smart thing to do. You know, people like Garth Brooks is a great songwriter, but you know, if a great song comes along that's like undeniable, you're like, man, I gotta record that.
Right. No,
It's,
I agree with that.
It's almost like you just can't have an ego about it sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's how Granger is. You know, he is a phenomenal songwriter, and he's written most all of his songs up until recently. You know, maybe the past couple records. You know, there's some occasional songs that come around that are just like, man, that is just so good. I've got to record that, and he'll do it, and they've become great, you know, big successes for him.
Well, and that also puts you out there too. Like, you get contacts and stuff like that.
Well, it's you know, if you have a great song, even if you write it or not, if you have a song that does well, it helps you out because people latch on to that song and they'll come buy your CD and go to your concert and support you.
Yeah.
So,
So, if you could play with anybody right now, anybody in like favorite band, whatever, besides Granger Smith, who would you play with right now
oh, dude.
on the spot?
Well, hold on, backtrack, because that's one of the questions I actually have. So,
Oh, that's one of your questions too.
what's one of the? Yeah.
Okay,
So,
all right.
actually, just step back a little bit. Go.
Think about that one.
Okay, cool. I'll think about it.
So you're only 23. You have a really good foot, I think, already in the music industry. You work a lot. You work really well. And so what does the future of the music industry look like to you exactly? Do you plan to stick around with Granger, or do you maybe just like you said before, it's making those connections and those relationships, kind of what comes and what goes?
I think with music, it's a really good thing to not have all your eggs in one basket. You know, and I've always considered myself, I'm not really a one-trick pony as far as like, I'm good at guitar, but I'm not great by any means, and not, you know, in the grand scheme of things, there's way better players and all that stuff. But I kind of try and be good at everything. Like I spend a lot of time, you know, recording and writing and just a lot of different aspects of being a musician. So I want to do a little bit of everything. You know, I really want to produce records and write songs for people, you know, eventually myself, because all of it is super fascinating, not just the performance part, but the creating aspect. And so, yeah, I want to kind of be able to do a little bit of everything. And I'm going to play with Granger as long as I can. But in the end, you know, I want to be able to make a living just doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah, diversify yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not
And
just-
that's what I'm doing with songwriting. Like, yeah, from a financial standpoint, I want to, you know, grow that to diversify income, but mainly just because I just love doing that. Like, I don't want to do just one part of music. I don't want to just perform. I don't want to just write. I don't want to just record.
Yeah, that's totally understandable.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of just love every bit of the process. So
then,
see, I think that's how you know where you know where you're supposed to be at is when you love every aspect of what you do, and you try to do every part of it, not just like what you're doing now.
Yeah, exactly.
You're trying to get yourself into everything that has to do with music. So
yeah, exactly. It's all awesome, and there's opportunity in every part of it. So I mean, maybe someday I'll like manage somebody too.
Yeah,
fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or develop an artist.
You never know.
Yeah,
and
You could get that connection and be right there.
yeah. We'll see where it leads.
And so then my follow up question was going to be, is there anybody you really want to play with, or
Just for like nostalgia's sake, and I would love to play guitar for Avenged Sevenfold.
oh yeah,
For a little while, but with that, I don't think I'm capable of doing that because they're like extremely proficient.
Don't limit yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean,
you could play most of their songs.
some of them. I could play rhythm guitar for them. I could not play lead guitar, but they are so good.
What's the difference between lead and the rhythm?
Rhythm, you're mainly just playing chords with some like lead stuff here and there, but then the lead guitarist is a dude like shredding solos all the time.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, and with Granger right now, both me and the other guitar player, we split leads, and like I'll take a lot of solos, he'll take a lot of solos, so we're equal in that matter. But with a lot of rock bands, the guitar is more of a featured instrument as far as like
I got you.
You know, as far as showing off, I guess.
Right.
You know, so like in a rock song, the guitar solo is
you got like a minute solo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest point of one of the biggest points of the song, just like the chorus, what everybody sings along to.
So Avenged Sevenfold.
Yeah,
I like it.
Well, eventually, I just want to do a rock project just for fun.
Yeah.
You know.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I still love rock music incredibly, so we'll see.
All right, now jumping in and doing a little bit of rapid fire. Somewhat. So looking back at your obviously very young music career, what has maybe been one of your favorite failures? And by that I mean something you look back on and that now has led to a later success.
Ooh, failure. How about instead of failure, a favorite mistake? And that was... You guys probably remember it in junior high. I got in a lot of trouble with a lot of other people for trespassing in the condemned intermediate school, which resulted in me being in an alternative school for a whole semester.
Gosh.
And then on like probation for...
They put you on probation for that?
Yeah.
What year was that?
Sucked.
Was that your 8th grade?
I was in 7th grade.
7th grade, okay.
That was a very life learning experience because I'm like, okay, wow. I've got to be careful who I surround myself with, one, and then, there's consequences. And so that was an eye-opening thing. But then also, too, what was really cool about that situation is because, that forced myself. I had to spend so much time by myself, whether at home or at school, like at an alternative school. You're just in a little cubicle and you don't get to talk to anybody. You just get to sit there, and you just have a lot of time to think about yourself. And I feel like I grew immensely during that period because, I could really only look inward. And I spent so much time practicing guitar and, just practicing guitar and focusing on myself at that period because I couldn't go hang out with friends. My parents grounded me for, indefinitely.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's something that unfortunately not a lot of people get the chance to have anymore. Not getting in trouble, but spending a lot of time just with themselves and just figuring out who they are, because nowadays we live in the age of distraction.
No, yeah, you can pick this thing up and talk to someone in 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. With social media and the internet and just constant distraction. If you just constantly distract yourself, you never really get to maybe figure out what your true meaning is, or what you really enjoy. And I don't know. So that process, I learned a ton about myself. So.
Now, was it your fault that you trespassed, or was it someone else's, or was it
a collective?
No, was it their fault that they built a crappy building on a crappy foundation?
Oh, dude,
that was definitely part of it.
Oh yeah, well, that story kind of summed up was like that was the skateboarding phase to where I was skateboarding all the time, and So what happened with that is, there's a condemned school, it's boarded up,
Mm-hmm.
and we're just skateboarding around in that building. You see a door that's unlocked, into an empty school. What 13-year-old skater kid is not going to go skateboard down the halls? So I'm not excusing myself by any means, but it's just an honest, young and dumb thing I did.
Hey, let's go skateboard the hallways, jamming the Green Day.
Yeah.
Don't want to be an American.
That was still the CD player.
Yeah, that
CD player, dude. Oh,
Yeah.
John had the cassette player in his back pocket.
Dude, I remember going to buy the American Idiot Green Day CD at the mall one time. I was there with like my aunt and my mom, and I was buying CDs back when there's still CD stores. And I remember taking the Green Day CD and putting my thumb over the explicit sign while I showed my mom or my aunt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm just like, here, I want this CD. So I'm, holding my thumb over the explicit sign as if it's not already bad enough. It's like a bloody
Heart.
Yeah,
heart
the grenade.
thing with a grenade, like fist. So as
like,
if that didn't look alarming
Bad
enough already.
already.
But surprisingly, they let me buy it. So
And you turned out all right.
I turned out okay.
What 2 or 3 books do you gift or recommend the most, or maybe 2 or 3 books that have most impacted you?
I have become an avid reader of the past few years, and man, it sounds corny, but I love reading motivational books, if you will. I love the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That was I think written in like the 30s or maybe earlier. I don't know. It's an old book, but it's still always a huge seller and a extremely still relevant book. And that's just talking about whatever you think and spend enough time thinking of, you can create for yourself. And it's a really interesting thing, and it's a cool motivational book. But that book, that's a pretty broad thing, but I always recommend, there's another book called I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi, I think, and that's a financial book, and that sounds corny too, like
That's the one you were telling me to read. Yes.
Yeah, and it sounds corny, like, I'll teach you to be rich, like make you a bunch of money, and it's not really that at all. It's just a title to bring people in, I guess. But that's just about being smart financially, I guess, and like setting up retirement plans and stuff.
Financially disciplined.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it teaches you. It doesn't teach you like how to make $1 million.
That's not corny. That's just smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, it's what I'm saying. It's not like a get rich quick type thing.
Right.
Like, go put all your money in stocks or whatever. It's just teaching you like relevant to stuff that's relevant to everybody, just how to kind of be financially disciplined. So I think I read that book and instantly set up an IRA and then a college savings account for my son and just some things like that.
Well,
So-
that kind of teaches you stuff that you didn't learn in high school.
Yeah,
to be honest
exactly.
with you.
Well, then like reading that book, it's a lot of stuff that it even says all in the book, stuff that most people don't even think of till they're 30 or mid 30s. It's where you're kind of behind a little bit.
Yeah.
So then just reading that and it's just things that you don't even think about and are aware of at first. Because when you're 20 or 25, you're not thinking of what life's going to be like when you're 60. You don't think of any of that stuff. So then it's just kind of brings some awareness. And I don't know. I always like that one because that's something that anybody can apply.
Yeah.
That book, and then another book I really like, which is a big bestseller right now, is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
My barber was reading
Yeah.
that yesterday.
It's by Mark Manson, and I've read that twice now. That's another just book about perspective.
Yeah.
It's all about perspective, and it's cool. With that book, it talks about everybody has a mindset, like, oh, once I get this promotion or once I get X thing, once I get this kind of car or get this raise or whatever, then everything will be okay. But then, everybody,
always
you
goes
get
to something
you get to that point, and then
You want more.
you want more,
Right.
and you want more and more and more, and it's just a cool thing. It talks about that all the time, and just how you're always going to have problems and what you view as problems. And, and moving up the ladder of life, I guess, you just create better problems, but you're still going to, you know, have suffering and problems and it's just a really cool book about perspective and how not to give a fuck.
Exactly.
But it's funny too. The author's great.
What was really fascinating is when I graduated high school was you and I didn't talk for, I don't know, up until maybe last year, maybe, because you were looking for a roommate because you were touring a lot and someone kind of just stayed at the house and watched how we were gone. And what was fascinating is us not talking all those years is realizing when we did talk, how much we both had changed so much and grown up. And so now that we're a little older and a little maybe just a little bit wiser.
A lot, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah, Casey, a little bit.
Just a little bit. What new belief or behavior have you adopted or adopted and maybe just over the course of your young, now adult life that has maybe positively impacted you most?
I think just having a positive outlook and just being an open-minded person. I think that goes a long way. I think the thing that everybody learns out of high school is like, wow, there's a big world out there, and it's really eye-opening after just being, you know, in one place for a while. I don't know, man. I've just learned that you can really, there's so much opportunity and you can literally do almost whatever you want to do if you put the work in. But I mean, if you want to go be a musician, if you want to go be whatever it is, you know, there's plenty opportunities somewhere out there, and you can, I don't know.
Well,
you just put in the work and you can do it.
Especially living in such a small town that we do, you don't see the broad aspect of things until you get out there. Yeah. And so then you realize that there is a lot of stuff out there that you could do. Yeah. Because it kind of puts you in a box when you live in one place your whole life, you know? Yeah,
absolutely. I just being open-minded, there's just so much opportunity in the world, and you can kind of make whatever you want to happen if you put in the effort and the energy, and I don't know. It's just cool.
Yeah. So last question.
That's a tough question.
Not the last question. I've got one too.
Well, you want to go ahead?
Yeah. So, other than music and spending time with your son, what do you do for fun? Like, what do you like to do other than play guitar?
Okay, well, that was kind of my question.
Okay, well.
So, what is the most, besides guitar and your son, what is the most worthwhile investment you've ever made?
Ooh. Man, that's tough. Worthwhile investment. This also sounds corny, but just investing in yourself. I think reading and just in getting comfortable with being alone, not all the time, not literally, but just
being comfortable with yourself.
Yeah, being comfortable with yourself and investing in yourself, like whether it's reading or eating good or just becoming conscious of yourself. Any investment towards yourself, whether that's like an education or
like going to the gym or something.
Going to the gym, you know, that's number one. That's obviously a very broad and generic thing, but I don't know, and that's tough as far as investing goes.
Makes you think, huh?
What's y'all's biggest investment? Worthwhile investment?
Probably my health.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Just adopting different methods of sleeping better and eating better and exercising.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's cool about stuff like that, and I know we're on the same page with a lot of that stuff. It all goes full circle because, you know, if you go to the gym, you know, to get physically better, you in return become mentally more fit too. Yeah. You become happier, or you feel better, and you have more energy to focus on whatever you're trying to focus on, and it's all full circle. So
my biggest investment is Delta Oil and Gas Incorporated. Oh wait, what are we talking about? Life or money? I'm just kidding.
Get out of here.
I'm just kidding. Invest in Delta, not the airline, the oil company.
Oh, really?
No. I'm just kidding. My biggest investments, probably my personal life and family.
You better see your girlfriend, because if she doesn't,
That's it. That's my personal life and family. My girlfriend,
There you go.
little girl. The stock thing was, sorry. I'm such a big money.
Your stock's
I heard
doing good?
investment and I was like, stocks. That's good.
Yeah.
I gotta make that money.
There you go, dude. I not much of a stock watcher, but I like watching my IRA sometimes,
Yeah,
even
right.
though I can't touch it for 40 years.
It's like, I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, exactly.
Are we getting close to?
no, yeah, just wrap it up. Yeah.
Oh,
We got time. I don't care.
John wants to be here for hours. Well, even if it's more questions or we're getting close to signing off, I haven't known you for too long.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I did want to say this, and I'm one of them. So many Americans work that 8 to 5 job. Wake up every morning, dread going to work, just to make that paycheck. So, and this is just for me personally, I do respect you, and I applaud you for doing something you love, something that you enjoy doing, and you get to make a living off of it. That's awesome. So, from a man who's had many dreams, from being president, just playing in the NBA, congrats and awesome for following that dream and making something out of it. And even if it lasts 5 years or the rest of your life, that's awesome. I hope you enjoy it.
Oh, thanks,
And
man.
people like you are what I want to use to inspire kids and even myself.
Yeah,
So,
well, never let a passion take a back seat. I mean, we all have to provide, and man, I feel incredibly fortunate that especially being a dad early on, like that's like, all right, well, now I've got to provide and I've got to make a living, and just being able to still support myself and my son, doing something that I enjoy. I don't take that for granted at all. But we all have to sacrifice and do things we don't want to do. There's a lot of parts of the job that I don't enjoy sometimes, but it's but yeah, never let go of your passions. I mean, even if it's something just a hobby, like I would still play music all the time or figure a way to just, I would work at anything else just so I could go play on the weekends if and eventually it might get to that point. I don't know. But
Yeah. And also that's the ongoing joke from like episode 1, 2, or when I said he's a big daddy too. He's my daddy.
God.
Oh.
When I said that about you.
This is Big Daddy, right?
Big
No,
Daddy.
I said, oh, and he's a daddy too. He's a big daddy. He's my daddy.
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy.
I had them crying, laughing when we listened to the recording of this.
Well, it was pretty funny.
You got anything else you want to add? You want to?
Well,
I know Zane's in there yelling. Where's my dad?
yeah.
Is he? I got
I heard tapping on the door earlier. I was curious.
these little headphones. I got.
Are we allowed to
blocking
plug
everything.
anything?
Plug
Or
whatever.
are we gonna do that later?
No, we'll do it later.
Later.
Yeah,
All right.
sure.
I just want to I want to say go up to Mike Syndicate at Dallas, fresh haircut. You know what I'm saying?
Is that
looks
where you got
good.
that? Is that where you got that from?
Yeah, that's where I got it from. Mike the barber.
isn't that a plug?
That's a plug,
That's
bro.
a plug. I said we do
Yeah.
it later.
No, well, I'm plugging this. Dude. I'm plugging this guy, okay?
Plugging. All
Hey,
right.
because he keeps me fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're.
Yeah. Hey, no, go to Mike Gilchrist up
How
in
many?
Dallas.
How many beers have you had?
Don't worry about it, okay? This is not a beer. This is a tumbler.
He didn't pay for his haircut. This is whatever paying.
Hey, we're coming out with tumblers soon, so
No,
don't
we're
worry
not.
about
Get
it.
out of here.
All right, I'm done.
You wanna?
Thanks, John. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, thank you,
Seriously,
guys.
I've been
thanks.
looking forward to having you on.
Oh,
Finally, it was. Yeah.
Yes.
It's long overdue. I should have had him on like
we
first
recorded
time.
like not even our first episode in case like John's gonna be on.
I just said it
there's
without
guests-
asking him. I was like, John's gonna be on.
And there's guests that would I've talked to like I want you as a possible guest, musician and stuff like. Well, I can't go on after John. I'm just a local musician. I can't. So now we just messed up our future guest list.
That's
I'm
okay.
just kidding. It was awesome. It was a pleasure, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you,
And thanks
guys.
for letting us use the garage to record my podcast.
Yeah,
Oh,
hey,
podcast.
anytime.
and I was the one that advocated the most for you to come on. So
Yes.
big shout out to Mike over here.
Are you
Oh,
plugging
no.
yourself?
I'm plugging
Get
myself.
over yourself.
I got 3 episodes left.
Oh,
2
gosh.
now.
I've always liked you, Mike. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
love you, John.
So any tour dates in Texas coming up?
We are playing Salado Saturday. What is that? Like April, the day before Easter? Yeah, the day before Easter.
So this
we're
weekend.
playing Salado. Yeah.
Saturday.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh yeah, today's Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then I think the next I just saw on our calendar that we're playing Silver Saloon in Terrell, Texas.
No way. What day is that?
June, I think. Maybe August.
Let's go.
July, somewhere around there.
Hey, you
We're
want to play
going.
those free tickets over here?
Silver
this one?
Saloon
I'll
is
see what
my
I can do.
favorite one.
Really?
Silver Saloon is my favorite.
Yeah, it's a cool place.
I love it more than Billy Bob's, more than
Billy Bob's
anything.
is a little.
I like it better than Billy Bob's because it's a closer drive
Yes.
for me home.
Well,
Yeah, sure.
yeah, but it's also you got a bigger dance floor, and
Oh yeah,
it's just a better atmosphere to me.
yeah. It's a cool.
Not
It's
as
a cool place.
touristy.
It's only thing with that. It's like I've always remember like, playing really late there to where I'll have like an 11 p.m. showtime. It's just like,
Yeah.
dang it, I'm gonna get home so late. It should be 4 a.m. before I get home.
Yeah.
But it's still fun.
Hey, well,
Y'all come on out, man.
We should show up.
Yeah, we should. We just
for
yeah.
sure.
All right.
Sounds good.
Wait, this Saturday?
No.
No, that's
June.
Oh, yeah.
June.
That's like I think the end of summer.
I'll look
Yeah.
it up. I'll look
Sounds
it up.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well,
Free
John,
night.
yeah, thanks for being on. Thanks for letting us pick
Yeah,
your brain.
thanks, John.
Y'all rock.
You're a big daddy. You're my daddy.
No, you rock.
Thanks for listening. It's Live Part Time. 4 guys, 3 mics, 1 car garage. Is what that is today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Peace.